This is the Real Footy Expert Tips podcast. Thanks for joining us to tip round 5, Gather Round, one of the best rounds of the year. My name's Andrew Wu, and joining me today is Peter Ryan, the former Gather Round correspondent.
I know.
Who's been sensationally axed
for
this year.
I know. Well, it's fair enough. I mean, there's only so much, and Sam McClure and Michael Gleeson are over there, and they'll do a fine job. I'm sure they'll have to rediscover a few of the coffee shops that we made a habit of frequenting over the last 3 years. But it's a good round of footy to be over there. But I'm actually quite looking forward to sitting back and watching it from afar.
Sam's been rewarded for his good tipping, obviously.
Sam, you know what? I looked up what this might be. We should have a Snapdragon race. Do you know what a Snapdragon race is?
No,
well, in cycling, it's where you get dropped off at the end not at the end, midway through the race if you're trailing by too far. I reckon Sam could be a candidate to just drop off and drop out of the tipping. He's so far behind. If he gets like 15 behind, we'll just ignore the fact he's even in it.
He's after the old priority picks, isn't he?
He is after priority picks. He was defending his patch, though. He has won it twice, apparently.
Yeah, well, teams have been known for being successful in the past and then struggling in the modern era.
That is true. Carlton and Essendon supporters.
Okay, in the lead. So you're in the lead, Pete, which probably explains why you're so lippy to start the program. I'm on equal second with our North Melbourne representatives, Emma Carney and Libby Birch. And there's a stack of us on 24, headed by our supreme leader, Jake Nile.
Yep. I think I was surprised to be still leading. We both tipped Geelong in that thriller.
That was agonising, wasn't it?
I know.
And I felt like we left one of our trump cards on the table, the old Hawks are home declaration.
I know, we should have said that, because I did put that in the group chat that Carlton were home at 3/4 time on Good Friday.
They didn't need any more weight on their back at that time.
That was start of the comedy festival, that one. I think you'll be fine with Emma Carney and Libby Birch, because they'll have to tip North Melbourne this week, so you might be able to see them off. They've been good while North Melbourne's been competitive.
Yeah, I think they will surprise this year, because I think North are good enough to win 8 to 10 games.
Yep.
And most of their wins, I think, will come against the odds. So that's good for them.
What, are you claiming that the win over Carlton was against the odds?
Well, it was from about 3/4 time.
It was. Yeah, and I reckon those losses that Carlton have had to Melbourne and North Melbourne might not be so bad in 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's a good segue. First game of the round. Second time this season, we've got 9 games. Thursday night, Adelaide against Carlton. Adelaide Oval, second time that Carlton play Adelaide and gather around to open the festivities.
I think Adelaide kicked about the first 8 the last time they played. I seem to remember going behind the goals when I was over there for gather round, just to get a sense of the atmosphere, and standing on the hill, and the ball just kept nearly hitting me in the head. Adelaide, geez, they've been disappointing, haven't they? But they've still only lost games by less than 10 points against 3 pretty good teams. I think they'll be well and truly primed, obviously, for gather round, and be too good for Carlton.
Yes, I mean, they've got a few players out. But the interesting part of this game is that Adelaide are slow starters, and I mean, they usually have one quarter where they make a spurt, don't they? In the second half, play a good 20 minutes and get right back in the game. And Carlton, they're 4-0 to half time, for a 1-3 overall record, whereas Adelaide are 1-3 to half time.
Yeah, no, their first halves are fantastic, Carlton. They're unbelievable. They should just blow the siren. Adelaide wins.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Crows will win, despite having numerous injuries to their best 23 players.
Yep.
Darcy Fogarty will be a big out, but I don't think anyone will be tipping Carlton this week. I've got Adelaide by about 3 goals.
Yeah, I've got Adelaide a lock and my margin tip.
Margin tip?
Yeah, they will thrash Carlton.
Though I think you only had them up by 11 points in the paper.
Yeah, I know, but paper's different to the margin tip. That's
margin tip.
One of the premium products of the podcast.
Well, the margin tip, you gained a bit of ground last week. You tipped Sydney to win, and what did they win by? 128 points.
Yep.
I tipped the Dogs, and I was looking good at halftime. It got to above 50, but they only won by 34 points. So you gained 94, so you're only trailing by 17 now. So you're right back in it.
I know. It was one of the great margin tips.
Yeah, very good.
Yep.
Well played by you.
Thank you.
Friday night footy, Collingwood against Fremantle. This game's a little bit more, or a little bit less predictable.
I think so, because Pendlebury and Dacos back. Angry Anderson's making his debut for Collingwood, which is Angus Anderson, the sturt, mature age tackling machine.
Best of field in the Santhal Grand Final.
Yep.
At the Adelaide Oval as well.
So he's OT medal.
Yeah, so if he was a racehorse, he'd have the C next to his name for a win at the course and distance.
That's right. Collingwood will be much better against Fremantle, despite the fact...
they have to be, don't they? They were pretty poor against Brisbane.
Well, they were poor and they were undermanned. You take Nick Dacos out of that side and it's a massive difference, particularly when Pendlebury's already out and you're playing the reigning premiers.
One of the best midfields, the best contested teams as well. Were they minus... I had a look at the numbers before. I think minus 39 were they for contested possessions, which is their fifth worst of all time.
My worry is Collingwood can't score, and it's still a problem, and it will be a problem against Fremantle, who have very good defence and good defensive midfield in Sarong, and Brayshaw's not too bad in that area. I think Luke Jackson's about to hit some form, and I think he'll make life hard for Darcy.
He's been reasonable form.
Yeah, he's good, but he can dominate.
Bolton's the one for Fremantle, who I think can be the difference maker in this game.
Who's that?
Shea Bolton. Just that extra speed.
Jeez, he was good the other night.
Made a big, especially in that second, or when they needed to win the game again. The player who I do think is a little bit of a worry, and he's a good player, is Jordan Clark. When things go wrong, he's made a couple of blues last week, which made me think, is he one of those... Of the players who are considered to be very good players, is he one of those who kind of does a little bit more wrong than other good players do? It's an interesting category.
No, I was trying to think of a word for that. The good, not good, when you need them to be good player.
Yeah, exactly.
He could be, absolutely. There's a few of them. I won't name them, but jeepers. There were a few of the last 10 minutes of the Geelong game. Anyway, that's another thing. I'm tipping Fremantle to win, but not with a lot of confidence, actually. It's hard to come back to the same venue after such a big game against Adelaide, a tough, hard game.
And Collingwood do well backs against the wall. And this has got one of those. You've got that feel, doesn't it, when they're
absolutely
get players back.
I reckon it's 50-50.
Nobody expects them to win on the road.
But I'm Dockers.
Yeah, I'm tipping the Dockers as well.
Yep.
Saturday afternoon, Barossa Park. This is the first of the Saturday early afternoon doubleheader. North Melbourne against Brisbane. North coming off their 3-1. Can you believe it? They're in the top 6.
But they're really Division 2 deserve to be that.
Well, they've had a soft draw to start the season.
They've got a lot of talent. Fino Sullivan out's huge out for them, I assume.
He's been good. Did the job on Sam Walsh last week on top of, who did he blanket? Zach Merritt the week before.
Yeah. So that's a big out for them. Brisbane Lions, look, they'd be unlikely to drop this, even if they have a couple of Barossa Valley
well, the last time they played, there was a draw down in Tassie.
Yeah, it was. I know that. Then they were lucky to win that game. Escape with the draw.
Yeah, and North haven't beaten Brisbane since round 2018. And the only two players left from that side are Luke McDonald and Jai Simpkin.
Well, you'd be silly to tip North Melbourne.
No, you can't tip North.
Yeah, you got to tip Brisbane, but it is a game that will be worth watching.
And as well as North are going, you got to question how were they 22 points behind Carlton so late in the game. So
I know that is a fairly good point, but when they got rolling, they looked like a team who knew what they wanted to do, and they did it well.
Yeah,
Luke Parker was impressive. Nick Clark is good, and that Cooper Trembath can kick goals.
I think Luke Parker has been, for all their high draft picks, Luke Parker's been their most important acquisition in the last 2 years.
Really?
Luke Parker, I think he just brings so much to the team.
He's a good player who's good when you need him to be good.
Yeah.
As opposed to a good player who's not good when you need him.
And he's tough and he's smart.
Yeah.
And he does the right thing, as you say.
Brisbane
by 40 points for me.
Yeah, Brisbane by not less than that.
Next game.
And remember, Emma Carney and Libby Birch are going to be tipping Kangaroos, which is good.
Essendon against Melbourne. Adelaide Oval, first game of the Adelaide Oval doubleheader. And there's an overlap in this game. I think there's only, the last second half probably overlaps with the first half. Or second half of North overlaps with the first half of this game. But anyway, we'll confuse that's probably not too important to our listeners.
Split screen.
You'll have the split screen on, won't you?
Yeah. Melbourne. Well, I have the triple split screen. I have the races going as well. I shouldn't say that. Melbourne
Yeah, Melbourne will win.
Yep.
Essendon
were much better, but Melbourne still
Oh,
won.
yeah. How patronising was the commentary towards
incredibly patronising. Yeah, in a good way, though. It was kind of hilariously patronising.
But if you're an Essendon supporter, you wouldn't like that, would you?
I think you've had enough hits to not really stress about it. At least they showed something.
But yeah, I mean, it was still a 6-goal loss.
Yeah.
But they beat Melbourne last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I remember Goodwin was under a lot of pressure after that game.
Yeah, Days will win Jake Melksham's 250th game against his first club as well. So
yeah,
Melbourne. Be a good moment. Yeah, Melbourne for me, but I think it'll be close-ish, bet 5 goals.
We're online all the time. Just search Age Real Footy on Facebook or Twitter.
Saturday twilight. This is probably the game of the round. Sydney against Gold Coast at Norwood Oval. This is a beauty of a game. If I was going to Adelaide to gather around, this would be one game that I would love to be at, just standing on the terraces.
Yep. Couple of cans under your belt.
A couple of cans of sparkling water.
Yeah, exactly. Sydney, I've tipped Gold Coast in this game.
Ooh.
I think they'll bounce back. They were really disappointed against Melbourne. I watched that game. They were outworked. They were just smashed in the midfield.
It was such a typical Gold Coast loss, wasn't it?
Yep. When the pressure was
expected to win.
Yeah.
Come to the MCG and they just don't get it done.
Really well planned by Melbourne. Melbourne outran them. They looked fitter at the end. They were tougher. Gold Coast, their forward line was okay. Their midfield was terrible, and their back line were well and truly off their tucker. They couldn't get any run out of that back line. But I think Norwood Oval will suit them because their contested style of footy.
Well, it's that weird shape, isn't it? The boundary line, it's an oval that's not really an oval.
No, it's got a straight line up one side and a brick wall up that end. It's kind of a bit terrifying, but it's a good game to watch the footy. I've been there for a couple of games. It's really good. Look, I'm going for the Gold Coast. Obviously, Sydney will start favourites and they'll have a lot of supporters. I just thought that win over West Coast was not necessarily... They just weren't tested at all.
No, it was a training run.
Yeah, so...
I've seen training runs with more pressure than what West Coast were applying late in that game. That was...
Exactly.
It was hard to believe how little pressure you could apply.
What I'm kind of taking the punt that it'll be a close game and it could be a chance to actually... It's a 50-50 game that you're a chance to get a little bit ahead of the pack. That's my theory of tipping
I'm
Gold
eyeing
Coast.
this one as one where I can get level with you.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I'm tipping the Swans. I'm a bit concerned about Gold Coast without Christian Petrarca and Bailey Humphrey.
No, that's fair.
And I think their midfield, when it's Matt Rowell and Noah Anderson, Matt Rowell's fingers still... Is he for a touch player and a guy tackles so often? It's not an ideal injury to have. And it's pretty much the same midfield as last year. So you need to improve from year to year. Whereas the Swans, I mean, Heaney comes back, so
he was
star
fantastic.
quality.
Yeah.
And the duel I'm really interested in is Charlie Curnow against Sam Collins.
Yeah,
so we saw how poor Charlie Curnow was against Hawthorn, up against a quality defender. He's up against another quality defender this week, and the ball may not get to him the way he would like it to. So I want to see whether he's got the appetite to fight, which Dean Cox questioned a couple of weeks ago. But I think he will. I'm tipping the Swans by about a goal. But it'll be a good game.
Yeah, I'm tipping the Suns by less than a goal. Good game.
Next game, Saturday night, second leg of the Adelaide Oval doubleheader, Hawthorn against the Western Bulldogs. This looked to be a lot harder game to predict about a week ago, and then the Western Bulldogs got a whole heap of injuries. Tim English on top of Ed Richards, neither will play. Artie Jones, who has made a very good start to the season, and on top of Tom Liberatore being out. So the Bulldogs have got, three of their
First
starting
choice.
4 centre square types?
Yep.
So...
Yeah, well, that's why I'm tipping Hawthorn, effectively. Plus, it's hard to keep a run of wins going for, they'd be up to 5 wins in a row, which is a silly thing to say, but it's rare to set off on a streak of that many wins in a row. And their second half against Essendon was not that impressive.
No, they had the cue in the rack, didn't they?
They did.
I was riding the Dogs hard.
This is one of those games, though, that, you would have been. The Bulldogs... It's very much an even game, but it's hard to tip the Bulldogs with those players out.
Yeah, it makes it a leap of faith.
Yeah.
To tip the Dogs. they're just. I was going to tip them a week ago, but then these injuries. The one question on Hawthorn though is the 5-day break, because that was a pretty hard game.
That was
a very emotional game as well. So how do you get yourselves up 5 days later against a team that's had? It's only one extra day, but.
No, and Hawthorn's never won over in gather round. They got absolutely thrashed last year by Port Adelaide. I think kicked away.
That was a weird game, wasn't it? They were like 12 goals down and then looked a chance to win it halfway through the last quarter.
Yeah. So, look, it's a real test to them to actually get up after the 5-day break and fight the Bulldogs again, but I think they'll be good enough to do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm only tipping. This is where strategy in your tipping comes in. Because I think most people are tipping Hawthorn. So I'm kind of thinking I'm not confident on the Dogs. And Hawthorn have won their last 4 against the Dogs as well. So I'm thinking maybe just be safe, go with the pack in this game. So I'm tipping Hawthorn. A bit gutless, but anyway.
I'm tipping the Hawks.
Sunday afternoon footy, Geelong against West Coast. This is going to be one-sided, won't it?
Potentially Blitzar's 300th game. Potentially without Jeremy Cameron. Definitely without Patrick Dangerfield. Norwood Oval, they've never played on. This will be one-sided, Geelong easy.
Yeah, I'm tipping the Cats. There's no way. I won't say there's no way West Coast can win because they've been okay in patches, but I'm tipping Geelong to win. And I'll make them a margin tip.
Yeah, good on you.
For the round.
That's good. That gives me a reason to watch that game.
Next game, Greater Western Sydney against Richmond where's this game at? Barossa.
Yep.
Did you ever get to the Barossa when you were our gather round correspondent?
No, never set foot anywhere further than Norwood Oval. They didn't trust.
Well, off the record, pretend our sports editor's not listening. Did you get there?
No, I didn't. But I was envious of people who were catching buses out to those games. Although this doesn't particularly excite me. This game, I think the Giants should win, but Richmond were just deplorable last week.
That was a terrible game of footy.
Yeah.
I had the
it's a 3:15 start.
I was covering that game. That Richmond Port Adelaide in the first quarter looked as bad a game as Richmond Essendon late last year.
Yep.
I thought it was tracking that way, and then Port. They're not that good, Port Adelaide, but Richmond are in a world of hurt at the moment.
They are.
Their kids aren't playing, which is an issue.
Well, a few of them are playing. Sam Greer looked really good.
Not enough of them are.
The Giants have got a lot of injuries, but they get a few players back this week, so that'll make them pretty much certain.
Our man, Brent Daniels.
Yeah, your man. He's back, and that'll make a big difference.
The Cabin will be back. Bedford will be back.
3:15 p.m. I'd be getting on to the first red at about 12:15, and then I'd be out the back at about 3:20.
Jane Laverty's 150th game this week.
Well done.
5th game for the Giants, so we'll get a presentation by the club. I'm tipping the Giants by about 5 goals. I was contemplating making them my margin tip, but
no, Richmond will be renewed, bit of renewed energy.
No, don't know about that. Final game of the round, Port Adelaide against St Kilda. Adelaide Oval. Will Adelaide Oval be rocking this year? Unlike,
yeah, it will.
Did they
Malira Cup?
Yes.
The Port Adelaide.
I don't know. How enthused are the Port Adelaide faithful about their team this year?
Well, enthused is not the right word, but they'll get behind them, particularly with a few of these young guys coming through. I thought Whitlock looked pretty impressive.
Yeah, he looks a good player.
Yeah,
I quite like him. He was good last week.
And they're a winnable chance against St Kilda. I think they'll be up and about. I'm tipping the Saints though.
Yeah, their top end quality is still there, Port Adelaide, except that they don't have any talent coming through. I think they're in that classic stage now where they're on their way down, but they're not good enough to challenge for finals, and they're not bad enough yet to be top 4, to be bottom 4, which is a real worry, I think, when you're thinking about trying to rebuild your list.
Well, if you got Horn Francis, who's just a great player, and Butters playing with enthusiasm, you're going to challenge any team. But St Kilda should have firepower with DeConning, Nasaya. They're actually not a bad team, St Kilda, and they played really well against Brisbane for 3 quarters. And the standard that they set in that game will see them beat Port Adelaide.
Yeah, I think their best footy is better than Port's. But the one concern is St Kilda are 2 from their last 16 against Port.
Is that right?
They beat them last year, but I'm always a bit wary about those lopsided records when you're in tipping competitions. But I'm going to tip St Kilda, but I'm not confident at all. But it'll be a good watch, though. Good way to finish the weekend.
That'll be a really good way to finish the weekend, and hopefully it's a thriller, because the pressure's on the Saints. If they don't win this, that'd be 1-4. Now, that would be in all sorts of strife.
Yes, well, they'll struggle to play finals from there. But it's a good way to finish the round, Sunday night footy. Like proper prime-time footy.
Yeah,
they used to have it in the 90s. Remember when Crows used to play it? Good way to finish the weekend.
You'd have a Suva and a hangover. Watch the last game.
I was about 14 years old when that happened, so I wasn't doing any of that.
Yeah, fair enough. We show our age. So who have you tipped? Adelaide?
Yeah, we've gone Adelaide, Fremantle, Brisbane, Melbourne. I've gone the Swans, you've gone Gold Coast. Yep. We're together on Hawthorn, Geelong, Giants and St Kilda. So just the one difference.
The twilight game.
Will be either be level or you'll be two ahead. So
well, good luck.
Good luck to us, and none of this we're home shenanigans.
Yeah, that's my favourite trick. That's my only thing. It's like moving Brent Croswell from fullback to full forward or vice versa. That's my
That was the only move coaches did in the day when they moved the fullback to full forward. That's all we got time for today. Thanks for joining us. You can see the rest of the experts' tips at theage.com.au/AFL. Make sure to subscribe, rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to get in touch with us, send an email to realfootypod@theage.com.au. This podcast is out every Thursday to help you with your tipping. The next Real Footy podcast will be out on Monday to dissect all the news from Gather Round. We'll be back next Thursday, and may your team win.